What's up, people? Welcome to this episode of the By the Hood podcast or webcast, because I don't know how you're consuming this content. I'm your host as always. My name is Jimmy, and as I start off every show is with gratitude. I want to say thank you to all of our supporters out there, anyone who's bought a course, some merch, all of our students at By the Hood University. We appreciate all the support. And as usual, I'm joined by my partner in crime, Corey. Corey, how are you?
I'm living, man. I ain't doing much and nothing heavy. I'm just living.
You good, man. How the market's treating you lately, man?
I had an up and down week. I got flagged as a pattern day trader on two of my accounts. So I had to me and the brokerages is that we had odds right now, man.
I heard that.
I had to call two of my brokerages and tell them, like, yo, man, you got to take me off this shit.
Yo, man,
you got to get me off. Yeah, free me off the pattern day trading.
All right, but listen, man. For those that are long-time followers, our platform we use to highlight brothers and sisters who look just like us that are doing amazing work in the community. We love talking to the youth, man, because it's very inspiring, man. And this brother that we have coming on is out in California by way of Chicago. He's an investor, a business owner. He's also a fellow podcaster. Millionaire Mindset is his podcast, which is amazing. Has a lot of great content on there, man. We want to make sure we highlight this brother and just, have a conversation with him to see what's going on. Our brother Xavier Miller's in the building. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, man. I definitely appreciate y'all having me on, man. I've been watching y'all for a while and see what y'all doing. It's amazing. So I'm super appreciative to be on the show.
Appreciate those words, man. Listen,
yeah, right.
You're doing amazing things as an investor, man. And you're a young guy, man. Before we even start, how old are you?
26.
All right. So for those out there watching, before we even get into his story, understand this young brother is 26 and he's out here making noise, man. So it's possible for anybody. And that's one of the reasons we like to do this. We have people on from all walks of life, all ages, but understand that there's young cats out there, man. So, as I watch everything going on in the world, man, that's my one hope is when I see the young cats out there, man, I'm like, all right, so maybe, we are going somewhere, Corey. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's amazing, man. So with that being said, though, tell us a little bit about your background. Where you originally from? Where'd you grow up? Where'd you go to school? That kind of thing.
So I'm from Chicago, grew up in Chicago, the west side area of Chicago, born and raised. I went to school, Proviso West High School. So anybody familiar with Chicago, they know that's Proviso West is like, it's in the west suburb of Hillside, but it's a black school. Like everybody, the whole school black. So as far as education, I was a terrible student, man. Pretty much my whole life, like from 6th grade on to my senior year of high school, I was a terrible student, man. And after high school, I wanted to go to college. I remember like it was yesterday, man. I remember wanting to go to college and telling my parents, like, man, I want to go to school. And I remember my mom looking at me like, what? Like, I'm not paying for you. She was looking at, she was like, I'm not paying for you. She's like, you already don't like school. You got terrible grades. I'm not about to pay for you to go to school with something that you don't even like. So I'm like, at that moment, I was, man, I'm telling you, when I was hurt. Because to see all my friends and peers going to college, it felt like I was being like left behind. But I'm like, but now she was completely right. Like being in that position, I would have did the exact same thing. But in that moment, after high school, I moved to Florida with my brother. He was in the Navy. So I went to Florida. He always put this bug in my ear. He was like, man, if you go to the military, don't go to the Navy, don't go to the Army, don't go to none of that, go to the Air Force. So that was always in my head. So around like 2013, I went back home and I joined the Air Force. So I went to the Air Force, and then that was just like I knew I was going to use it as a stepping stone. I didn't know exactly what I was going to do afterwards, but I just knew like I'm not doing this for 20 plus years. I know I'm going to do my time, get in and get out. So I got in, used a bunch of my resources, saved up some money. Then I just went full time doing everything I'm doing now.
That's dope. So if you and Corey's a military guy too. He actually you tell your story a little bit, Corey. You actually started college first and realized like you didn't want to be there. Went to the military and
yeah. So I went from high school. I went to regular college. I thought I was gonna play football. I was good. I had some D1 scholarship offers. But then because like him, I wasn't a great student. They had this thing back in the 90s called Prop 48, and I wasn't Prop 48 qualified because of my grades. Even though I got, like 1180 out of 1600 on the SAT, I still wasn't qualified to play sports. So end up going to a college. I enjoyed my college experience because, you know, I like parties and young ladies, but I didn't get good grades. And then, you know, I got into some trouble. You know, I got into a lot of fights in college and in the city. And so, you know, half the city was looking to kill me. So I decided to go to the military.
Well, let me ask both of you guys a question, right? So that's interesting. So, Xavier, start with you though. What, if anything, did you take from your experience with the Air Force that helps you out today?
Oh man, it's I could go on and on, but I would start with discipline. It taught me how to maneuver throughout different situations. Like growing up in Chicago, and I tell people this all the time, getting in the military was really my first time around other people that wasn't black. You know what I'm saying? It's like Chicago's a really it's a segregated city for real. I think it's the number one segregated city in the country, if I'm not mistaken. But so in the military, it just taught me how to maneuver around like different people. And that's important with business, as we all know. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna be around your own all the time. So that taught me valuable lessons, as well as discipline, just being able to adapt to things. Because it's the military, so many uncertain things that can happen in the blink of an eye. So it always taught me how to adapt and be military minded as far as like the way I move, the way I treat things and stuff like that.
Got you. How about you, Corey? Because you were Army, right?
Yeah, I was in the Army. I didn't learn those same kind of lessons.
Well, shout out to the Air Force then.
yeah. Shout out to the Air Force. I learned a lot about contract law in the Army. Yeah, like if it ain't in writing, it didn't happen. And so I learned a lot about that. Yeah, so you know about that in the military. I learned a lot about contract law in the military. If it ain't in writing, it didn't happen.
Okay, well, everybody has their journey, man. So that's just unique to you guys. But so after the Air Force, what was your next step to get into business?
So in 2017, 2016. So I was 3 years in the military, and I was just, to be honest, man, I was just worried about having a ball. I wasn't worried about nothing, man. Cause like my whole life, I always knew I knew I was gonna have my stuff together, but I always thought like, man, I got my whole life to get my stuff together. You know, I'm young, ain't no rush. But in 2016, I got tasked with a deployment. And so they told me, like, if you're familiar with the military, you know, like deployments, they could task you and let you know if you got 5 days to leave or you got 6 months. In my case, I had like 5 months. So before I left, they was like, all right, we want everybody to make a will. You know, you're going overseas just in case something crazy happened. It's the military. Just in case bomb drop, you die. Make a will, tie your stuff in order. So I was making a will. You know, I was making it. I realized I ain't have nothing, bro. Like I remember I had 10 pairs of shoes. I had an Xbox. I had a watch that my girl bought me. And I remember at that moment, like it was the lowest moment of my life, bro. Like literally the lowest moment. I was just looking around like, damn, if I die right now, I literally ain't got nothing. It's like I've been living for no reason. So my mindset of having like, I got my whole life to get stuff together, I realized that's not true because anything can happen. So then I was just like, all right. So I went on the deployment, and when I went on this deployment, I saved all my money. So I came back home, I had about like $25,000. Granted, it ain't a lot of money, but it was enough for me to be like, all right, I can make some moves now. So then the first thing I did while I was deployed, I was researching like crypto. This was before it popped and all that. So I started investing in cryptocurrencies. It popped, I made some bread. You know, I started investing in the stock market, started buying Amazon. I started getting into Amazon at like $900 a share. Started buying to Apple, Facebook, and then I used some of that money to get into real estate. So it was just like a trickle effect.
Yeah, I saw your post how I turned 25,000 into 100,000 within a year.
Yep.
Let me ask you a question though. So, and as two things I took from what you just said, right? So a lot of times when someone asks for help with their finances, whatever, the first thing most people tell them is to write down your budget or your bills or whatever. And that does a couple things. First of all, it lets you see where you're at, and it gives you like a blueprint. But what's interesting about that is a lot of times that's the wake-up call. When you actually have to write down what you have, and like you said, for you, when you wrote it down, you was like, damn, I got an Xbox and some sneaks. You know what I mean? Like, so that was your wake-up call. So that's interesting too, because for people out there watching, if you want to start somewhere, start writing down what you have in terms of assets, and liabilities.
That's a gem, though. That's a gem, because like if you write down what you have right now and you not satisfied with that,
you got to do something.
Find a way to go get it.
Exactly.
Like, that's the move right there. Like, so if, like, out of this episode, you just gave people right there the whole, like, do it with. First of all, we just had a attorney last week on our podcast that does wills, and she said the same thing. Like, write down what you have, and your will is will tell you what's going on for the rest of your life also.
Yeah,
So
yes.
that's a powerful statement in back-to-back weeks with our guests that they
Write it
came
down.
on.
Write it down. Yeah, a lot of people say, I don't need to write it. I know what I got. No, write it down. It actually makes a difference. And then second, I want to ask you this, though. So you said you went and looked into crypto. What made you start to think I need to invest, though? Like, I understand you said I didn't have anything, but a lot of times people say I don't have anything. They start, how can I make more money and get a better job, without understanding that income and assets are two different things. Like, what made you think, like, was it something you read? Was it someone put the bug in your ear that you need to invest? What made you go into the investment space?
Because I was already, like, as much as I was, like, wilding, enjoying myself, I was financially literate. Like I said, I just had this mindset where, like, you know, I got my whole life to do it. I already got this information.
Got you.
So, you know what I'm saying? So, but when I was deployed, I just started digging deeper because I had nothing but time and work. Outside of work, it was just time on my own. So I just dug into the information. I'm like, I'm going to pull this trigger.
Well, how did you become financially literate? Like, was it something that your family taught you when you were young? Were you, like, people before you, or what kind of pulled your coattail to actually be financially literate?
No, so I didn't grow up in a household that really talked about money like that. So I was, like, around, like, my senior year in high school, I read the first financial literacy book I read was Rich Dad Poor Dad. So I read that book, and that book, like, was pretty much the blueprint for me. And then after that, like, it was really, as crazy as it sounds, it was really, like, kind of common sense to me when I got the basic, like, information. It wasn't like no rocket science thing. So like, it's not as difficult as people, I guess, trying to make it seem. But it was like, once I got the basic information, it was like, okay, cool. This is how you're supposed to do it. This is what rich people do, wealthy people do with money. So why not follow that blueprint?
Man, that's another gem right there, Corey.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Because it's not rocket science, right? So, and this is no shots at anybody, but this past week I had a couple people hit me, like, you know, join this Susu, and, you know, then I get bombarded with the Forex cats like every day. They come in my neck, and so what I tell them now is, I said, look, I read the Forbes every year for a couple decades at this point, and every time I open the Forbes list, is either the ownership of a company or owning land. It's literally those two things. So it's not rocket science. So why do you guys keep trying to invent something new? It's ownership of a company and ownership of land, everybody in there. So it's like, it's not really being hidden, you know, it's in front of you. It's just a matter of putting the plays together to make that happen. So it's interesting you say that, like, this is what they do, I'm going to do what they do. It's not really rocket science. All right. So we tend to overcomplicate things. We definitely do. And so that's an amazing story. So you read the book. You said, okay, this is what I got to do. I saved some money, then I'm going right at it. I went right into the crypto space, man. You sounds like you jumped in at a good time. So you made some great in the crypto space.
Yeah, I jumped in at the perfect time. And the crazy part, when I jumped in, I was kind of like fearful. I'm thinking like, man, maybe this is just hit his peak. But no, it didn't. It went crazy. It went nuts after a while. So I was like, wow. And people all the time, like, what's funny about this is people tell me, they'll be like, man, everybody can't do that. You just got lucky. I'm like, bro, opportunities, I don't want to say opportunities like that, but opportunities similar happen all the time. It's not luck. If I wasn't prepared to be in a situation to invest, like, what do you mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was irrelevant.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You put yourself in that position.
Right.
So now it sounds like you're, like, well diversified. You know, I know you have your own businesses. You have your stocks, your real estate.
Yep.
Are you still in the crypto space at all?
Yep.
Oh, that's amazing.
I still got a good amount that I hold on to.
That's dope. So I also know that you have, like, you know, your podcast, which I do listen to. It's an amazing podcast, man. So salute to you for that, because you talk to a lot of people as well. We have some similar guests, and you have a lot of guests I haven't talked to. But what was the inspiration behind the Millionaire Mindset platform?
So we created it at the end. It was the day before Christmas in 2018, and like I said, around this time, this was I already been, like, investing and doing stuff for a year now. So I was like, those conversations that we have on the podcast are conversations that me and my co-host Deanna, we have all the time, every single day. So I remember we were just sitting on the couch and we were just having one of those conversations again. And I was just like, we probably should record this so other people could hear it. And it was really like, we started because I wanted people like my age and people that's younger than me that come from similar environments that I come from that's not privy to the information, just to hear these conversations so they can know it's possible. So that was the root of it all.
Man, yeah, and it's an amazing platform. I just want to give you respect with that, because here's what I like about 2020, right? So I was having a conversation last night with Malik Corey, and I was telling him that it was weird back in the day before the social media. I used to feel like, not alone. I shouldn't say alone, sounds crazy, but what I mean by that is I was always into finance, money, black dude into that. And it wasn't too many people that I thought were on the same wavelength, because in my neighborhood, no one really talked about it. You know what I'm saying? It was like, you talking hoops or other streets type stuff. But when the internet came, you realize like, damn, it's people all over the world that are into the same thing, right? And then you even meet people in your city that you didn't even know that were into the same thing.
Yep.
But what's unique about now is you have like the Millionaire Mindset podcast, like our platform, Earn Your Leisure, Todd Millionaire's platform. There's so many. It's a ton of platforms. The Black Wealth Project. There's so many different platforms. I find myself now like I don't even literally watch CNN, right? Like instead of me watching Jim Cramer, I watch Wall Street Trapper. You know what I mean? Like we have enough of our own people. We have enough of our own people. You know what I'm saying, in this space, putting out content, all the brothers and sisters from the Abacus platform. There's so many different platforms out there. I find myself like, yo, it's enough of us. I could just watch us get the same information, the same knowledge, hear from people doing the same things that I don't need, MSNBC or CNBC. I can go to I can go to YouTube, I can go to Apple Podcasts, and it's enough of us doing it. So I think that, and I just want to say salute to you for contributing to that, because I love podcasts. I love YouTube, and it's enough of us on there putting out this information. So I saw a lot of people pissed this past week when Kiyosaki said what he said.
Mm-hmm.
And what I found dope was the way Aisha responded to it. All right, well, cool. Look at these people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it's enough of us out there doing that that's cool. If you don't like what he says, here's what you do. So, congrats to you for creating that platform. And it's dope, though. I just want to tell you that.
Thank you, man. I really, really, really appreciate that. And like the feeling is mutual, man. Like what y'all doing is super dope, and it's important, man. And I feel like people don't understand. We still at the beginning. Like
absolutely,
we still haven't even seen the outcome and the rewards that's gonna be through this.
And that's the beauty of it. The beauty of it is it's like collaboration over competition, right? So. Because I mean, even the brothers from EYL, they've been on our platform before. Like we've interviewed them and talked to them. Like, and it's not a situation where, because when you think in abundance, things work for you.
Yep.
A lot of times with our community, a lot of us don't think in abundance. It's like, I want to hoard this over here.
Yeah.
Man, I give away all the information I have. I just give it away, right?
Same.
Because here's a little gem. When you give away all your information, 95% of people ain't gonna do nothing with it anyway. So just give it away. Like,
yeah, pretty much.
You know what I mean? But yeah, man. But get it back to your journey, man, because I'm just so impressed with you as someone at your age that's doing everything that you're doing, man. And I know that you moved into the crypto space, the stock space, but how was it? How did you go about purchasing your first investment property?
So that was really, man, Deanna, she set up that whole play. Like that was something that we always wanted to do. And so I guess, so she got out the military before me. So, and she had, cause she was my girl, she was in the military too. So she got out, she just had time, and she was like, man, I want to get into real estate. So she found the deal. It was in Detroit. She like, look at this. She ran the numbers to me. Like the property was $16,900, and the rent was around like $650. So I'm like, damn. So I'm like, wow, this real right here. So she ran the numbers. So for the people who don't know, for a property that's under, I think 20 or 25,000. You can't get a home loan. You gotta get a personal loan. So we granted we had the money to buy it, but we don't want to use our money. We want to keep our money, use somebody else's money to get.
That's right.
So we took out a personal loan for like $13,000, and then we put up the rest of the money, bought the house. The tenant's in there. She's paying the loan back, and she's paying us. So it was like it was a no-brainer. And then
you like, let me do this again.
Yeah, right. It was like let's go all in. So then I started partnering up with some people, start buying more solo, and it was on from there, man.
That's dope. And another thing I like about what you just said is the willingness to partner up, right?
Yep.
Because you're not being greedy. Let me get a small piece. I'd rather have a piece of this than a piece of nothing, right? So
exactly.
That's important.
You can own 100. You can own 100. You can own 100 doors when you partner up. You don't gotta have all 100 doors in your name. It could be in the LLCs that y'all partner up. and y'all can all eat. You know, you can still eat at $10,000, $100,000 a month with 100 doors. You know what I
Listen,
mean?
man.
Like,
But a lot of times people they have this control issues, right?
Yep.
But I tell people like, yo, Zuckerberg only owned like 28% of Facebook. It ain't his completely. But when you think of Facebook, who you think of? And who we know sitting on a couple $1 billion, right? So it's like no one has built or scaled anything to certain levels by themselves. I don't care who it is.
Possible.
Yeah. You look at every big organization, corporation, institute of higher education is always a group. So that's the way you operate and scale certain things, man. So, man, that's dope that you got into the real estate game that way. So let me ask you this question. Throughout this journey, coming from the west side of Chicago, going to the Air Force, becoming an investor, what has been the biggest hurdle or something that you had to get over?
Man, the biggest hurdle, that's a tough question. So I would say the biggest hurdle for me was really getting outside of my environment. Like once I got outside of Chicago, it opened everything up to me, just because when you enter an environment every day, you can't see outside of that. You're so stuck in doing your day-to-day. Whatever you're doing day-to-day, you're so stuck in that, and you don't like see different possibilities, opportunities. So you get outside of that, especially when you got some alone time, you start to see things differently. You start to think differently about things. So it was like, that was the biggest hurdle for me. When I got outside of my environment, it was like everything opened up for me. Because like back home, Chicago was a big city. Like you run around every day. You don't have no time to sit down and just think like, man, what do I want to do with my life? Like what plays I can make? It's just so busy, just running around all day. So getting outside of that was everything for me, bro.
Yeah, that's a good.
you know what that remind me of? That remind me of COVID. That remind me of COVID. That COVID-19, like having everybody have to sit down. The whole world was on pause for a month. And now, you get to see the field clearly now. You know what I mean? Like you get to see how, you get to strategize and you get to see the field clear. So, you know what I mean? Like having that entire month when the world was on pause, that should have given a lot of people that same clarity that it gave you.
Yeah. I mean, what that made me think about, Corey, is I know people like, so I'm from a section in Philadelphia called Germantown. I know people that have never been out of Germantown, right? Like they go to school there, they shop there, they met their girl there, like, and their worldview is different. So what you said to me was going to stick with me is like, once you get out of that environment, like I'm talking about people haven't left a neighborhood, let alone a city, let alone a state, let alone the country. You know what I mean? So traveling can do that for you, right? So you start to travel and you see that the world is bigger than like, the west side of Chicago. It opens your mind up.
Yep.
So that's dope. Let me ask you this though. What is your favorite book or something that gives you inspiration and motivation?
Man,
you can do more than one too. You can do more than one if one gonna be too tough.
Yeah, one is that's tough. That's tough. My favorite book. I got a lot of favorite books. I like this book called The Secret.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite books, just because it spoke on the law of attraction a lot. And I read that at an important time in my life, so it was like everything to me. So I would say that book. I would say Principles by Ray Dalio. That's another important book.
Yeah.
I would say Why Should White Men Have All the Fun by Reginald Lewis.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'll probably off top I could name those three for sure.
Okay, those are good. And for those watching, in our recommended book section, which will be in there, we'll make sure we have all those there. I think they already are there though. There's some great books you named. And anybody watching, another thing I want you to do is make sure you follow Xavier on Twitter, right? So he's all over the place. We're gonna put all his links, his IG and all that. But he be going ham on Twitter. I love his Twitter account because you be giving people the business, man. And I just want to ask you this question: What made that platform stick out to you and become a place where you just like you go in the way you do?
You know what's crazy, bro? You know what's so crazy? I didn't get on Twitter till the end of 2018. And I don't know why I never got on before. I just didn't care. I never cared to get on there. So, but I'm glad I did get on at that time, because if I got on earlier, I would have probably been saying some crazy stuff. So, I don't know what made me get on there. One day I was just like, I'm hop on Twitter, and when I would say things, it would get a lot of reaction from people. And what's crazy is people would think I was saying it for shock value, and I'll be like, I'm shocked that y'all shocked. Like, I can't believe that people out here that's surprised by this. I thought this was, until I got on Twitter, I thought the stuff that I was saying was common info, bro. I swear I did. I thought like everybody thought that. So when I see people reaction, I'm like, whoa, Twitter's another thing that taught me the world is much more different than, much more bigger than like your thoughts and the stuff that, how you came up. Because so many people came up differently with different ideas and thoughts and stuff.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Listen, I love your Twitter account. You be going in on Twitter, man. So make sure y'all go check him out on all his platforms, but make sure you check him out on Twitter though.
You got to change your name to Samuel L. Jackson. Gotta change your Twitter handle.
Samuel Dallenberg. He be going in, man. But listen though, so what's the future for your business? So you have your platform, set up for you to teach and educate, because that's what you guys are doing, teaching and educating. You have your investment properties, you have your portfolio. So what do you see as the future for your business and for yourself?
So the future for me, to keep it short and simple, is to do everything I'm doing at scale, to just grow that at scale, even from my podcast to my real estate company. Just to like, I even then recently branched off and doing new things for my real estate company. Like I'm doing home inspector, and I did a mobile home part of my company now as well. So the end goal is to pretty much branch everything without overextending myself. Like my main focus right now is my real estate company and Millionaire Mindset. Like that's a whole company in itself to me. So that's like my primary focus right now, as well as the stuff I'm investing in and stuff like that. But I try not to, you know what I'm saying? When you're doing too much, you end up getting nothing done. So
that's a bar.
I keep my stuff like simple and just focus on that and growing, expanding. And it's coming along well, man. Like you said, you can't do anything just working on doing it yourself. You got to be able to scale up and partner up with different people on things. So that's my focus right now.
Building that team out, man.
Yep.
Man, that's amazing, man. Listen, I just want to say, man, that I'm proud of you, bro. Like, I love to see what you're doing. I love the way that you give back in terms of teaching. And you're an important part of the community, right? Because we all trying to build together and grow together and just to make this community and help our people. Because at the end of the day, it's necessary for people to see people like you doing the things that you're doing. You know what I mean? It's not about necessarily like bragging, hey, I have this, but to show the work, because you actually put the work in. Yep. You know what I mean? You're building these platforms from scratch. And someone 26 years old, man, by the time you turn 40, 50 years old, Lord knows where you're going to be at. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's powerful, man. I just want to tell you to keep teaching, man. Keep teaching.
Thank you, man.
Yeah,
man.
I really
appreciate that, man.
Real. And for those out there watching, also make sure I want to let you know that Corey and I wrote a book, right, called Own Your Time and Space, right? And I'm putting this out there because if you go to By the Hood University, we actually put the digital version where you don't have to get the physical copy. You can get the digital version right there at By the Hood University, where our courses are. We have our DYO options course, intro to the stock market analysis. And we got a couple of real estate courses coming soon, but I just want to put that out there real quick. Corey, before we get out of here, you have any more questions or thoughts for the brother Xavier?
When you looking to scale up, what kind of partnerships are you looking for? Like, who are you not who are you looking for, but what's the outline of the person you looking to scale up with?
Is it just capital, or are you looking for people to actually put work in?
See, I love that question, man. I love that because people don't really talk about that a lot. So for me personally, what I look for, because I just don't look for capital. Like I got people that reach out to me and they like want to get involved all the time, but I feel like if it's not a good match, if the vision is not the same, I know long term it won't work well. So for me personally, I look for people that got the same vision, the same goals long term, not no short term stuff. And if those things link up, is cool. Like that's what I'm with. But if it's just money and they don't really believe in what I'm doing, or they don't really care, most importantly, about what I'm doing, they just see it as like, oh man, this is gonna be a come up. It's like, nah, I want somebody that's really believing what I'm doing, they care what I'm doing, they want to be involved and make it bigger and better.
Dope.
Yeah, that's love.
Yeah, man. Oh man, listen, man. Like I said, man, keep it going, man. So
thanks, bro.
For the folks out there, I want to make sure that you check out what Xavier has on. Make sure you go to the Millionaire Mindset podcast. If you like our platform, you'll love his platform as well. Like I said, there's enough of us out here putting out content that you don't have to go nowhere else. We need our own network, like our own CNS, to everybody put their content up there, man. Because
it's probably gonna happen, bro.
Yeah, it will. It definitely will, man. But like I said, I'm gonna put all his links in the description box. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're listening on one of the podcast platforms, make sure you rate us, make sure you share this, and go follow Xavier and see everything that he's got going on. Because like I said, the beauty of watching someone so young do these things is you get to watch his journey And you know, we living in an era now. He's actually documenting. So you get to watch his journey and see where he'll be, man. Because Lord knows where he'll be in 10, 20 years, man. So that being said, man, Xavier, just want to say thank you, bro.
Thank you.
And you know what I mean? And we'll continue to support you in any way we can, man. For our folks out there, as we always say, it's not about how much money you make, it's about how much you keep. Game elevates, and we'll check you on the next episode. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.